the Prison City Podcast. When the bars go up, you're officially locked in.
Welcome, folks, to the Prison City Podcast. I am your unofficial host, Patrick W. Cutler, and we have an amazing fucking show here today. We're fresh off last week's show. We talked about the Redgate alien up outside of Deer Lodge, Montana. It was a great show. We're going to go into that a little bit today, some more stories about that and how it relates to our Redgate film. We got some breaking developments in the Redgate film and when it's going to be done. We got Tilly's back on the show tonight. He's going to be the background statistical guy. Hopefully he has his phone out to look up some stats and tell me where I'm wrong, like he always does. And we're going to go back in some topics here. We're going to talk about it's been trending lately. Donald Trump saying he's going to be back in the White House in August. That's going to be a fun talk. I know Mahomes is really looking forward to that topic. Dr. Fauci's email. Should Dr. Fauci be in a federal prison? I saw a meme on it. Let's talk about it. And we're going to go. Hopefully, we have a special guest here today. His name is Esteban, and he is the fucking official Redgate alien. He might be the guest coming on here today. And I want to go here, show my hat here. It's the Deer Lodge News Network. We launched that a couple months ago. It's going strong. And we got the Boycott Patrick Cutler t-shirt. I finally got one copy myself finally. So get these folks. They're going off the shelves like fucking crazy. The Boycott Patrick Cutler t-shirt. Recently there was a recent boycott dropped against me, which I'm shocked, but not at the same time. I'll get into that information later on. But let's get into the show here today, guys. We're going to go right to Kelly to start out. Go ahead, welcome yourself here, Kelly, to this week's 15th episode of the Prison City Podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to do the show tonight. It is Friday night. I think this is the first time I've done a show on Friday night. Tilly keeps bringing me beers. So since it is Friday night, the show's going to last however long it lasts, but Tilly's going to keep bringing me beers every 10 minutes on the clock until one of us passes the fuck out.
All right, and Mahomes.
Wow, 15 episodes. This is exactly 14 more than I thought we'd get. Incredible. And boy, we've touched on everything from, don't jizz where you eat to aliens. And here we are now. We've lost a member. We've had a boycott. We've survived a boycott, I would say. Anyway, get those t-shirts. You guys are really what we're doing. Anytime we get a t-shirt, we changed it and we are funding hungry children. So really excited.
You actually might put that. I'm actually just might donate all the proceeds to the hungry children in South Guinea or whatever the fuck it is these days. It's popular. Anyways. So yeah, let's get right into things here tonight, folks. Talking about those who haven't been watching. I know about the Redgate area in Montana, just outside of Deer Lodge. Made a bunch of news programs this past week. Made on a lot of different news stations. I got a very good chance to come on there and talk about our film, Redgate film, excuse me, which we've been working on here the past year, which is about these haunted areas outside of Deer Lodge, Montana. All of it's based on a true story. And now we got the backing of a bunch of news stations that people can actually look up the Redgate stuff and see that it's really based on a true story. This horror film made, so it's only getting better. And last week we had the guy who caught this alien on camera, Donald Bromley. This is crazy ass alien picture he caught, and it was really a crazy show. So, how did you feel, Mahomes, about last week's episode and just this fucking viral coverage of this Redgate story?
It's what's funny about this podcast is you just never know what's going to take off. And I mean, we could give you the boring details on like what's our most popular episodes and what, but like for this to be the thing that people really gravitate to, it's really interesting. And I think the thing that people don't understand is like, hey, is the government in this? Or are they not in this? Is Donald was actually killed in his home under suspicious circumstances. So he's dead. I'm just really glad he got his story out. And I'm worried for my family now as well.
So just heads up to our audience is this last week's episode with Don Bromley talking about this alien that actually broke our record for most downloads in 1 week. So we are fucking heading up the slope here, guys, getting to the top of the mountain. And and
with how creepy it was, that was 13 downloads, lucky number 13. So there's another little tidbit there.
And what he meant to say was 13,000. We do everything in thousands. We like to
13K.
we like to be modest because, we're only 15 episodes in. We don't want to say like 13 million or so 13,000. It's no big deal.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, I don't know why the alien stuff is so popular now, but I reading that news report that I was on. They were talking about the Pentagon. This is a kind of an interesting story. The Pentagon, June 25th, is going to actually release a lot of classified documents and stuff on UFOs and all the information that, I'm sure it's not all the information, but a ton of information on UFOs and alien encounters and things that the military has captured. What do you think about that, Mahomes?
Why June 25th? Is there any significance to that, or it's just like they picked a date to just say, here, have this?
Because
because that's when Donald Trump's going to be back in office, motherfucker.
No, he's not. You know why? Because you have to think it's much like anytime the NFL has a news story or that they don't want to break, right? Like, and Maurice Claret has gone into prison for rape. It's always on a Friday afternoon because no one cares. June 25th is a Friday.
Hey.
So something tells me we'll get all this stuff on a Friday when no one gives two poops.
Hey, here's the thing, though. If you think that this election was legit, I'm going to show you a Joe Biden voter on a screen right now. Here's an actual Joe Biden voter. Esteban the alien voted for Joe Biden. I guarantee it.
Well, I'm excited about tonight's episode because I want to see what gets more downloads, Donald Bromley or Donald Trump. We'll see.
For those of you who didn't watch our hit episode last week, the alien, we found out his name was actually Esteban.
Yeah, and when the podcast first started, Pat, it sounded like you had some of Esteban's jizz in your throat. You're clearing that motherfucker so much.
And honestly, it's 2021. If that's what you're into, we're not here to judge. Like,
let's just jump back to that. The story of the last week's podcast is just where things for me just like I was like, what the fuck is Esteban this alien? I'll pull him up here again for everybody to see. That Don Bromley, this guy is the main host of our show now.
And for those listening at home, he pulled up something on a computer because you can't see a damn thing he's pulling up. This is a picture of an alien that Don Bromley captured. It looked like a fifth dimensional being. We had a bit of discussion on it last week, and it's basically for those just listening with just audio. It's a night vision photo of what looks like a fifth dimensional being walking across a camera. You have to see it yourself. You can look it up. Just Google Redgate, Montana, and you'll pull it up instantly because there's like 5,000 articles on it now. But basically, the story behind this alien, which you now found out his name is Esteban, that people told. He used to visit these people in town or something. He got stuck here in Deer Lodge Valley for eternity because he had sex with a human being.
Yeah, and for those of you at home, this week's episode, we're just doing a script reading of last week's episode, and all we're talking about is this alien the whole time again.
And so if you guys, for the 13,000 who downloaded this last week, you're in for 13. A real treat. 1,000. I mean, like, if you liked the episode last week, you're going to love it this week because it's pretty much the same thing minus the guy who got the picture.
Yeah. All right. And Donald Bromley, he was on the History Channel. He got a fat check from that. And he now owns this podcast. And he owns our apartment that we're doing it out of.
And
he owns your ass.
That's true because the History Channel is very famous for just dishing out fat checks for alien stories. That's how the History Channel makes their money.
Donald Bromley is the Floyd Mayweather of the History Channel.
Just a bunch of Photoshop great bullshit.
God.
Oh, love you, Don.
Well, that's the show, guys. Gonna wrap things up here.
That was good.
Thank you, guys. I've had a great night. Thank you guys so much.
Let's round them horses now.
Hey, next week's episode, though, we're doing a drunk show next week. We have Glenn Garrett, Glenn Ross, Cutler Brothers Plays opening next weekend. and Mahon's going to actually be here physically in town. We always hang out after the show for a while and just eat pizza and talk, whatever. Next week, we're considering doing a drunk podcast show, which by that time, I think we'll all be pretty drunk at that point. I'll put another sober show in the books for everybody tonight, if you can't tell.
It's crazy that, like, of all the nights that you would be sober, a Friday night, our first Friday night show, Pat's just stone sober. This is the one night that everyone's like, it's Friday night, man. Pat's like, no, I need to have my wits about me tonight for no reason, apparently.
Well, I know Pat's, I know he's sober because usually when he's drunk doing the podcast, he's like, okay, and abortion. Now I got to go take a piss. Just takes off.
Yes. He leaves us with the most controversial subject. Okay, and go.
He's like, hey, guys, now, my wife's and my divorce. Go. I got to take a piss. Like the subjects we know nothing fucking about. Okay.
God, you know what I really wanted to do for like a comedy night, Skip? At one time we'll have to do this for a fucking prison city podcast, is pull up the dumbest fucking Facebook post out there, and we'll have to like black out their names or whatever, and just throw them up one by one and just tear them apart.
I'm very here for that.
We should do that on this. We should do that on this podcast, 100%. I was just on one today. Actually, I put out a Facebook post that I said, something like, I wish in real life you could just walk up to an argument like on Facebook and just be like, hey, I'm here for the comments. I just want to laugh and continue on or something. It's because I got on there. These are like fucking 20-year-olds or even high school kids that I had, back when I was a teacher 10 years ago. And they were just fighting over abortion, actually, believe it or not.
Oh.
And I was just reading all the fucking comments. Yeah, and there was like 280 comments.
Holy shit!
I got to like comment 140. Yeah, I got to comment like 145, and I was finally like done shit, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing with my life?"
Actually, I'm actually going to pull that up right now because I saw that like
catch that? Sorry.
No, I saw that like 4 minutes after you posted it, so I didn't see a single comment on it.
I saw your post. You're saying people commented from, like, you made that post and then it got 280 deep, or you were looking at something else and that's what made you think?
No, I was looking at something else, and I was just reading all the comments and shit, and then that's when I put that post out there. But did I cut out there during that whole spiel? Because it seemed like there's like a 10 fucking second delay there.
No, I fucking heard you.
No, your story was just like really captivating, and we needed 10 seconds to just like, we just really needed time to sit with it.
Pat, I don't know if you're friends, we don't want to expose anyone here, but did you want me to, I could pull that up. We want to fucking hash it out for a second. Cause it's pretty fucking crazy.
Could you put,
so
could you send up,
can you just give me like, sorry, Pete, can you just like, I probably don't know the person. Can you just give me like, what was the comment? What was the post that led to 280 comments? Because I can't imagine saying anything that would lead to 280 comments.
Can you send me the link to the post or whatever? I don't know if I'm friends with the person or
not. Yeah, I can. Let me say the post really quick, and then I'll send it to you. And then, again, we don't want to expose anybody on here, but it was fucking.
Put the name inside the Facebook Messenger chat.
Yeah, I will.
That's how.
Unless they pulled it down, which I hope they didn't. It was something about, you'll have to search for it, but it was something about Planned Parenthood. And then somebody said if they ever came close to Planned Parenthood, they'd burn it down. And then it just fucking exploded like fucking Nagasaki.
Oh, so it was like I can understand that kind of comment where it's not like someone wasn't like walking on eggshells. They're like, if I see this thing, I'm going to murder them and everyone in it.
Yeah, and then you know how it is, and especially with young people. I don't know everyone. Actually, I don't know most of them in the chat. I assume they're young because of the people that I did know in the chat. I assume they're in their late teens or 20s, but they're then it leads to arguing about other shit, and they start talking about how you don't have a fucking job, and it just gets so fucking ridiculous that, like I said, by comment 146 or so, I was like, I gotta quit.
Yeah, because it takes, as the further you get into an argument like that, where especially the younger you are, the more you think you know. We've talked about this before. The more you think you know, so then you're going to lean into personal attacks, right? Like, they don't think like me, I'm going to attack them personally, and that's where the job stuff or whatever comes in. So it's just garbage. It's all garbage. Anyway, follow us on Facebook.
Brought back fucking nightmares, about being that age and shit, because I mean, I'm sure we were there at one point where you take something that you're arguing about and then you fucking completely flip it on its head, and it's just so fucking stupid. It's such an amateurish way to argue.
It's like the grammar police, right? When you're having a conversation with someone over the internet and you clear they don't agree with what you're saying, and then they're like hit you with the grammar corrections, like, oh, okay, so not only
commas,
do you not
commas.
You don't have a good counterpoint to what I'm saying, you're just gonna be a dickhead. Got it. Yeah. Okay, so the argument's over.
Yeah, fuck it. So Pat, did you you looking at that?
Yeah, he had to pull it down because it's no longer in there. Right now I'm looking up how a second civil war could happen, because that's what it's going to take to get Trump back in office here this August. Let's see how this is going to play out.
Hey, I was trying to reach out to our younger crowd, generate some younger views and downloads, and that's why I brought up the whole abortion meme or whatever on Facebook this morning.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that generates a younger crowd like like that, Kel. Planned Parenthood is. That's how you bring in the teen crowd for sure.
I don't know how we got off on that, but yeah.
That's the beauty of this podcast.
We don't stay on very long.
The last button point I'll say that, I mean, if we're not going to discuss that because it's not up or whatever, I'll just say that they were arguing on both sides of the abortion topic, which obviously we don't need to get into that, but they're arguing both sides, and on both sides I was just like, that is such a weak fucking argument, or a complete contradiction, and like I said, just hurt my brain after a while to read that shit. So hopefully those kids will go back and get their high school diplomas.
And if you're listening out there, he meant your super high school diplomas, because you've already graduated, obviously. Ben, thanks for listening too, for sure.
So let's round the horses here a little bit. Let's just, I like talking about social media, because the boycotts against me right now are all because of fucking social media. And I feel like not only we live in like this cancel culture and everything, but I think like we talked about the younger generation, I think the worst fucking people on there are like the fucking adults, because they'll go on there and they'll read something you post, and it's like they'll take it as like 100% fucking fact, like, and they will construe it to their own belief system. So they'll take it so far that it won't even be remotely close to what you actually said. So with that, let's get to the developments that we were talking here before the show. Is we had a film. The film is called Redgate, which is, oh, we're so jacked. Sorry, I just had a problem there with my son at home. I'll just ignore that. The Redgate film, and what happened is we had these actresses. They're extremely ultra liberal politically. Kelly just said he found the posts about 10. I swear I went 20 posts down. I'll find his post. But these guys are so liberal. We had to cut lines out of the movie that they are getting. We paid them a contract. We cut lines out of the movie because they're so liberal they wouldn't say the lines, although these lines are in all kinds of movies they've seen. They're just really difficult to work with, to tell you the truth, the entire process. So we get to the point where we're doing It's all post-production audio, and they're doing it from New York. And I give them instructions. They do a test run with the post-production audio. They send me back, and then I give them instructions, and I send them like 6 straight messages. And the only thing that I can come to a conclusion on is why they quit doing the post-production audio is because at that time, I finally got to that point during COVID-19 where I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna post whatever I think about COVID because it's fucking ridiculous. And pretty much the second I told the actual truth about COVID-19, due to their extreme liberal, open-minded belief system, they decided to start boycotting doing the rest of the fucking audio of the film over fucking COVID-19 posts they disagreed with. That's how like tolerant they are. So I guarantee the only thing that changed was those posts I started making. So they basically just ignored me, ignored us, ignored our entire production, crew for probably 7 months straight now. And now this is how fucking phony people are and how fake people are because of social media. Now, 7 months later, we're on TV, talking about Redgate. It's blown up. It's going across all these TV stations of the film is and everything else. And now they're like all messaging us saying, oh, yeah, we want to do the audio. We got the sound studio. You want to do the audio. It's like, where the fuck were you the last 7 months? It's like, right?
Yeah, it's who fucking knows? I mean, I the older I get, the less I try to control situations or people, because you really have no fucking control whatsoever. People are going to be the way they're going to be. You're going to be the way you are. Mahoney is, fucking Pat Sajak, whoever the fuck it is, they're going to be the way they are. And I just feel like life's a lot more comfortable and you're a lot happier if you don't fucking worry about that shit. So, and things like that, anomalies like that, like, why the fuck haven't you responded? Even if you didn't write to them, I feel like if you were really invested in a film or a production, you would reach out and say, hey, what the fuck happened with that? It's just like Kit and Pete, right? We've seen some of the lead characters have never fucking seen it. If you disagree with us on anything, why would you film a movie? Why would you take 3 months out of your life to film a movie and then not want to see it, even if you just wanted a copy to make fun of us or something? Don't you want to fucking watch it? Isn't that the point?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is like, another part that's kind of upsetting is like they were under contract and everything. The contract, in the big boy adult world, you don't say, oh, he made a Facebook post that was offensive, so I'm not going to honor my contract. And then 7 months later, oh, the film's going somewhere. My thing is, it felt like, and Kelly feels this, and Mahomes has felt this too, and he's been on stage with us and stuff. Is like people kind of have that backhanded slap to you, like, well, that's not going anywhere. And then like the fucking second they say, oh wow, this could really take off, they're like, oh no, I want to be back in it now. I want to be back in it. All right. What do you think about that, Mahomes?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to jump on it, right? Like that's the, and this is going to come off harsh, and so just I bear with me on that. But it's a small-minded mindset of just like you only want to be there when it's going good, right? Like if things are going bad and you're there for it, you don't want any part of it. You don't want your name associated with it. Just like, oh, this is they're called good time Charlies or good time Sallies, whatever you want.
Mahoney, are you still talking about Planned Parenthood?
Not at all. No, that's not what I'm here for. I'm just
joking, man. Go ahead.
It's people that when you have a bigger idea, which we started as teenagers, and people were really on board with it when it was new, right? And everyone wanted to be a part of it. And there's these cool new shows, and we're doing movies, and we're shooting them in Deer Lodge. And now it's a few years later, and people are, maybe they're cool to you in front of your face, and they stab you behind your back and say, "Oh, look what they've done." But guess what? It's all of a sudden you catch a news story that goes across Montana and catches some internet, and all of a sudden, like, oh, no, I tell you what, I've been with you guys the whole time. It's just like, come on. Like, no, you haven't. No, you fucking haven't.
Yeah, I just don't give a shit anymore. And there's a meme that was floating out there recently that said something like, people know exactly what they're fucking doing, exactly how they're treating you and shit like that. They know exactly what they're fucking doing. and you don't have to stand for that shit. And I'm pretty open, and I'm more forgiving probably than any of my fucking family members or brothers. Not that they're not forgiving. I'm just saying I'm probably more letting these people back into my life. But here's the thing: is we keep saying the Cutler Brothers train is just a chugga choo choo on the tracks going down, and you're either on or you're off. And if you get off, it might be hard to get back on. And that's not really being cocky or egocentric. It just means we don't have fucking time for bullshit. We're trying to put some projects out there before we all fucking die. We're trying to, make some movies, make some money, and make some names for ourselves potentially. So we don't have fucking time for this horse shit anymore. And it's not just with Cutler Brothers, it's with all of our business practices and all of our employees as well.
And it's not also, entirely, about Durowatch. We talk about Georgia stuff. The people that boycotted this, mainly me, if they boycott me, they boycott all of us pretty much. So,
but Pat, one point really quick too, that I just thought of, we do very well at separating two, like you were saying. This is something that Pat Cutler posted, right? Mark Mahoney, Pat Cutler, Kelly Cutler. We can hopefully say whatever the fuck we want. We're Americans, freedom of speech, yada, yada, yada. But when Mark Mahoney's working for, his job and everything, and when we are speaking as on behalf of Cutler Brothers, Prison Pizza, whatever, that's a completely different fucking hat. If you can't separate the two, which we do very well, I think, then I think you have a problem.
And it's both on left and right, to tell you the truth. Both sides do that shit where it's like, the stuff I say about COVID-19 and things like that, I wouldn't put that on the Cutler Brothers page. I wouldn't put that even on my marketing page that I run. That was my personal profile of just me just spouting off my views. And, it's just fucking crazy that, people are that weak, but they want to be on the bandwagon. Things aren't going well. You say something like, oh, I got offended because my TV box says you can't say that about COVID. And it's like, this is fucking pathetic. Are people really that weak? It's like, the member that was off this podcast, boycotted it over a fucking Snapchat that wasn't even offensive. If someone actually saw that, I think I still have it snapped on my phone, but I won't post it. I'd love to post it, but I'm done with all the drama or whatever. It's so fucking stupid. But if you saw it, you'd be like, that's what they fucking boycotted you over? It's just really,
it's the wrong kind of mindset. Like, one of my favorite parts about being friends with you guys is, like, outside of, we are both, like, we're all very creative, and we're driven in the mindset, and we're like, we kind of think differently than other people, but you think differently than every of my other, like, friends. So like that's why you guys are my best friends, is because you challenge me on different, like, you challenge me to think about things that nobody else does. And that's, if you can't have friends like that, where you can't have, like, comfortable conversations to be like, think a little bit different than what you're seeing, than what you're reading, than what you're seeing on the news. Like, I don't know, man. That's, you have to be comfortable to, like, expand your horizons a little bit. I mean, hell, a great example is, even in this, we've only had 15 podcasts. We were talking about online voting, and in the terms of the conversation, I went from thinking that was a bad idea to being like, yeah, let's vote online. Like, that's just in this show. That's just an example in this show. Like, you have to be comfortable thinking outside the box. Like, if you're only going to be around like-minded people, your life's going to be kind of boring, honestly.
Yeah, and fuck that shit. Like, who wants that shit? Again, we're all going to be dead. This is a newsflash to most people. We're all going to be dead with it sooner than later, sadly. And that seems dark, and people don't want to discuss that or whatever. Macabre. I don't know why I just thought of that word, but
sexy word though. Sexy word.
Anyways, we're all gonna be fucking dead here soon. So what are you waiting for? And why are you so reserved? And why do we just talk about insecurities yesterday? Why do you have any insecurities whatsoever when nobody literally fucking thinks about you, unless they're, like, right in your face? I mean, for the most part, you might think about your wife when you're away from her, or your best friend or something like that once in a while, but you're not thinking about them much. You're mainly thinking about yourself. We're all so fucking selfish and ego driven that you're thinking about your fucking self, and you're thinking about how do you look and how do you smell and how do you come off to most people. But get rid of the fucking insecurities, because there's no reason to have them whatsoever. And the last point I wanted to say is, the bigger you get in life, and this is like another hard truth, like Mahoney just said a few minutes ago, the bigger you get in life, you know, you get to Steven Spielberg levels or LeBron James or whatever, the less you fucking need people, the less you need horse shit. I mean, you don't have to deal with shit. That's why the best of the best get paid millions upon millions of dollars for what they do, because they don't have to deal with shitheads that are fucking everything up. And that's a cold hard truth right there.
Yeah, I want to go on kind of what this is a meme that I shared yesterday in one of our other groups that Mahomes didn't see, but it's talking about basically it's I'm going to reference this towards the Snapchat that the reason the person that was used to be on this podcast that boycotted the podcast, that one episode, he boycotted it because he was really insecure about associating himself with me in this podcast and what other people would think. That to me was so fucking, I was pissed when I heard that. I was beyond pissed because like that is fucking pathetic. You're afraid to associate yourself with Patrick W. fucking Cutler over a goddamn Snapchat? Are you fucking out of your mind? Anyways, turn on. I think we've been kind of ratcheting up the volume here for the show. So,
yeah. I will give him half a hall pass because of his age, and we've talked about that a lot. 10 years younger, or whatever. It's still, you know, that's the past is the past, but he does have a tiny bit of an excuse for being a fucking, you know, just saying moronic shit, you know.
Yeah.
And you just don't. Like me and Kelly have obviously been around you for most of your life, and we get you probably better than most people on the planet do. So we know that, like, when you're saying what you're saying, it's just you being you. Like, we don't care. That's so yeah. The people that don't really know you that well, I'm not surprised that someone would be like, oh wow, like this is over the line. Like, no, that's pretty normal, honestly.
Look at Howard Stern, Tom Green, Jim Carrey. I mean, look at these guys. I'm not saying you have to emulate that. It's just be your fucking self, because all of these guys made it, quote unquote. They made millions of dollars. They got fucking huge, and they did shit that if that was like your brother or your uncle or something, maybe you'd be embarrassed. But if they're not in your fucking immediate, it's back, and that guy's fucking hilarious, you know. That guy's crazy. What to say?
Exactly, and I'm gonna finally share this meme I shared, and I'll put this out the audience here. Is this guy his name's Stefan Arnio. The guy was an entrepreneur. He wrote Strong Men Make Strong Times, or Weak Men Make Weak Times, Strong Men Make Easy Times. I can't remember the title of it, but he's a really good entrepreneur and everything. And basically, this is someone runs his Instagram feed and they still post stuff. Basically, what he said is like, when you realize that nobody cares about you, you'll start realizing all the insecurities you have about what other people think about you don't fucking matter.
And I just wanted to hear the quote. I got to go take a piss. I'll be back in 3 seconds.
And I can expand on the quote a little bit, because I've made jokes about myself. It's a pretty common insecurity, right? Like I want to act like I envy Pat in that way, that he just doesn't care what people think. I want to not care what people think really badly, but I care so much. I do. I'm very aware of the fact that, like, I'm, you know, whether it's work stuff or whether it's personal stuff, I'm very aware of what I'm doing and how I want to be perceived by other people, and I care. And the older I get, the less I care, but I still care more than I want to. Just to be, you know, I'm honest with myself. I can critique myself enough to be like, I probably care way too much about what other people think.
Yeah, and I even though I push the boundaries, there's still a part of me that I let that, you know, get to my head sometimes, you know, what other people think and whatnot. But it's just like, it's such a, for me personally, it's just such a limited way to live life. And I have lived good portions of life doing that. When I was a teacher, when I did Facebook posts and I was a public teacher, I would limit my Facebook posts. I would look at everybody that I worked with. I would say, okay, they do not see my post. They do not see my post. They do not. So you have to like limit it down, especially when you're a public person. They could sit there and say you posted something, and oh, that was offensive, or that was this or that. You know, once I got, you know, left teaching and everything, I've kind of just said fuck it, I don't care really. I mean, what do you get? What's someone who honestly at the end of the day doesn't really care? So what does their opinion matter to you? But if you're like a public official or a public face and you have to like deal with that at work constantly every single day, it's like a much different deal. But I mean, I think for someone like me, it's like, man, look at life, and life is not short, folks. I'm just gonna tell you, right, it's not fucking short. And we're probably going to be, the way medicines work right now, we're probably going to be living to we're going to be living to probably we're 100 years old. That's just reality right now. So you look at it and you're like, do I want to live my entire life just walking over just fucking landmines, afraid someone's going to bomb me over or some shit I said or whatever? It's like, fuck no. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there that they're so insecure about what people think about them that they'll go out of their way to boycott me over something I put on Facebook or social media to say, oh, no, I'm not associated with him. Nope. I don't want anything to do with Pat Cutler. Get a t-shirt, folks. T-shirts link below.
And that's and you know, Kelly, what I was just telling him, I've said it before, is I care way more about what people think of me than I'm proud to admit. And I get like, you know, I get where people come from with that too. And the thing that's funny is like, people don't like necessarily care who you associate yourself with really at all, right? Like who you are friends with doesn't really matter as much as what people want to pick out is like, hey, he said this, or he acted this way in this situation. Just think about how you judge people, right? You don't judge people on who they're friends with. You judge people on their actions towards you or towards others. So that's why it's silly for me to be like, oh man, I'm really worried about what my friend said to this person. I don't give a shit. Like, go nuts, dude. be crazy.
Well, that's crazy that you say, I don't want to call it insecurity, but you care what people think. That's crazy that you actually do. I mean, I think everyone does to an extent. Everyone does to an extent, but to full on admit that you care what other people think and then get on stage and do any little fucking, you know, back in the day, any film we wanted you to do all this stupid ass shit where it might be fucking embarrassing or you might look like an asshole or whatever. How do you separate the two? Or do you just have to put so much confidence into your acting or your performance so that you know, like, fuck them if they don't like it. I know.
Honestly, for me, it was more about like hanging out with my buddies, and like I was trying to make my friends laugh on stage, and it was like I wanted the crowd to like what I was doing for sure, but it was more of like, I'm going to do this thing and I believe in this thing that me and my friends are like started, and I really want it to work, and so I'm going to work hard at it. And then if the people that I care about the most, like my best friends closest to me, think like, dude, you killed it today, like that's the people that I care about the most, their opinion of me means more to me than the crowd, I guess, if that makes sense, right? Like,
yeah,
audience feedback is cool and I love it, but like if I'm there with that's why I've never acted outside of you guys. Like, I love acting and stuff, but I love it more because I get the immediate feedback. Like, audience feedback is great, but like I get my friends being like, dude, that what you just did, like, that was funny. You know,
yeah. Or, and dude, one thing real quick, Pat, we just did an improv show the other day, and Zane, you know, all these guys, everybody that's ever done it says that exact same thing. And I guess I'm in that same boat. I close out the crowd. I just act like there's a curtain there, which is weird because, you know, it's like the crowd doesn't fucking matter, but it's like they do matter. They're there, you know, buying tickets to watch. It's like intrinsically something about trying to give them a good show. But honestly, when you're on stage, especially in comedy and improv, you're looking around and that's what everybody says. If you guys are fucking laughing on stage, I have done my job, because we're around it 24/7. So we're probably a little bit harder to impress even than someone that sees a show once every 6 months.
Yeah, and I wanted to add on to what Mahone said there. I mean, we guys have kind of been talking about a little bit there. You know, I've been reading this book lately. It's called Relentless, and it's this guy worked with like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, just the greats, and it talks about all these different things. You know, you can be a relentless person, and one of the things is like when criticism. That's one of the points. Is like if you let criticism really get to you, it's not really on the other person criticizing you. It's you kind of having a little bit of a lack of confidence. So like whenever you get criticized, you know, and it really affects you, you should really be like, okay, what's the deal here? I should just keep moving on it or whatever. But the main thing I wanted to alliterate at though was they call this thing called the zone, and basically that's what I do when I get on stage, and athletes do it all the time. It's like once you get on that fucking stage, or once you get on that basketball or football field, for us, it's like once you get in front of that audience, I had all these nasty rumors spread about me. Got on stage last Friday. Once I got on that fucking stage at the improv show, I just blocked everything the fuck out and says, all right, it's showtime. And in the fucking zone, this is all I care about. I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks, says, does, says anything. And you get in that fucking zone and you just fucking perform. That's why I loved theater probably the most out of anything, because anything that's going on in your personal life, any negative thing, and for me personally, because I don't really give a fuck, the more chaos I have behind the scenes, I think theater is a lot more funner because I know I can just step out there and get in that zone and get that hyped up, and just it fuels me in a lot of ways.
And in another way, so I'm kind of this, like, I feel like this is who I am generally as a person. I'm just kind of a walking contradiction of like myself, is like I care so much about what people think, and I want my friends to like really think this is cool, but then I also mentally I can mentally motivate myself to be like, the crowd thinks I'm gonna suck. Like I'm gonna go out there, and the crowd thinks I'm gonna suck. I'm just gonna go shit in their face. Like I'm gonna go show them how good this is gonna be, right? So I have these two, like, it's two very different mindsets of like, screw the crowd, I'm here for my friends and I'm gonna make this work. But then I also, like, right before that door opens, or right before the curtain opens, or however you're about to enter on stage, it's just like, you know what, but that's kind of how I always approached it.
And I think there's different, well, I know there's different levels of consciousness, right? Completely different levels. Maybe there's a million different levels. I think about this sometimes with how comfortable we have become getting on stage, doing comedy or doing a show. I was kind of alluding to this last week or 2 weeks ago. It's you got to remind yourself, I got to remind myself, like, where I came from. Like, dude, you were fucking, your leg was shaking in 6th grade, so you're so fucking nervous to get up there in front of people, and not just acting, but getting up and giving a speech. Or, I've talked at like the Rotary here in town countless times, and I used to get so fucking nervous. And then you just, I guess it's growing up, you just become wise to it, where like 10% of you don't piss your pants, you're going to be fucking fine. And the consciousness thing that I'm trying to say is, you got to understand that we are in a different place as a fucking 20-year-old or as a 60-year-old. We're all in a different place. I think everyone deserves like the respect for where they are and shit like that. But doing what we do is not fucking easy. Even though it's become easy to us, it's like we are just playing in a different reality. And the reality with the majority of people, I don't want to play there anyways, because it fucking sucks and it's boring.
And I try to tell, so when people ask me, like, because I've been not like on stage, but I do a bunch of, with my job, I talk in front of thousands of people in big boardrooms in front of major corporations, or I talk in front of rooms and people are like, how are you so comfortable up there? And for me, the mindset, it's always like, one of the things I always thought of, even before I started acting, when we were doing, like how Kelly talked about in 6th grade, you got to get up and give a speech. Like, in my head, I was like, everyone is so scared about their turn to talk, or thinking about what it would be like if they were up there. They're so busy being scared about that even if you're like a little bit less scared than they are, they're super impressed by what you're doing, right? Like, if you're even just like a tiny bit comfortable up there, they're like, wow, this guy, poof, I wish I could do that. And it's not that hard. You just got to let go.
Yeah.
Dive through the fucking, sorry, Pat, one quick thing. Dive through that fucking brick wall as quickly as possible. That's what got me out of the funk. Like class time in music school at University of Montana, we need a volunteer. There's 100 kids in the class. I immediately just, okay, I'm up. Because the longer you fucking wait, the more you're going to shit your pants. Just fucking do it.
And here's one of the biggest things I want people to pull away from this is, Mahomes knows this too, is like, if you don't like your life, you're like, I'm stuck in a rut, I don't know what I'm doing, The easiest way to get out of this, and this is just basic advice from almost any rich person, salesperson, anybody who's been successful, is find ways to get out of your comfort zone. Do the things that are uncomfortable. That's why I always try to up the level to the next game. I do crazy shit. You're like, people think that like winning is just like, oh, you just play straight up, you're in your comfort zone, you just win. No, that's not how it fucking works, bro. You have to get way outside your comfort zone to really understand things and level up. This last month and a half, I've done some crazy fucking shit, but it was based on instinct. I just had that gut instinct. I'm going to fucking do this. I don't care. It blew up. I got another boycott. Who gives a fuck? Because guess what? Guess what's coming back down? The other side of that mountain, we got fucking coverage of Redgate statewide. We're making so much momentum on so many different projects and things. It's like, the backside of that uncomfortable, I feel embarrassed, humiliated, whatever, boycotted, if you can get through that fucking wall, the other side of that wall is where the real victories are. That's the real level up for you.
And the further you get away from that too, that comfort zone that 99% of people live in, the further you get away, the less you ever fucking want to go back to that shit.
The thing is like, what people don't understand is they want you, it's kind of, I hate to generalize, but it's the trophy generation of like, everyone gets a trophy and you grow up thinking you're special. And then the second you get out of high school or the second you get out of college, whatever, you find out right away, you're not fucking special real quick, right? And guess what? The only person that you can bet on is yourself. Like if you're betting on other people to help you out, you're betting on the wrong pony, man. The only thing you can control is attitude and effort. And that's you. So bet on yourself every time. And if you don't bet on yourself, like I started out in a seasonal position and now I am towards the top of the company I work for because I bet on myself. I had nobody to back me. I had no one telling me what to do. I just said, fuck it. I'm going to do me, bet on yourself.
None of us were born with a silver spoon up our ass. Not fucking one of us. We came from a 4-brother family with, and this isn't a sob story. This is just a background story. 4-brother family with a dad that was a teacher back in the 80s, and if anybody has heard, teachers make a shit ton of money, right? And a stay-at-home mom. We never fucking whole whatever. We were forced to be creative and shit. But the point of the matter is, none of us are fucking Bill Gates here yet. None of us are Brad Pitt yet. But I think we're all, anything that we've accomplished in life has not been a fucking handout. It's because we've all worked our asses off for it. And there's just this separation that's going to happen. You could sit down here in the fucking swamp and say, oh man, I could never make it. I could never make a fucking $1 million. Bullshit. In America or anywhere in the world, there's always going to be rich people. There's always going to be successful people. And there's always going to be fucking people that are drowning in the swamp. It's honestly your choice. No one's holding you back except for yourself.
Yeah, I would say, both our fathers, growing up, were in positions that got fucking highly scrutinized, highly criticized. So that's one thing I can pull away from both our dads is that, you're going to be criticized if you want to take on those big roles. But at the end of the day, you just got to man up and just take it and move along. And then at the end of the day, you just got to say, you know what? I'm just not going to associate with Patrick Cutler. Let's start that boycott up, right?
Yeah, for sure. And he's not wrong. Like, please buy the t-shirt. And honestly, what I can say about both of our fathers is they didn't start in that position. They had to work to that position. And the higher you get, the more criticism you get, right? But anyway, like I said, boycott Patrick W. Cutler, get the shirts. There's a couple different colors.
And like we're, just because we're on the subject, I just have to tell a funny story about our dad. He came from a blue collar working family, and he always tells us how his only goal in life was to go work in the mines. Which again, there's no fucking problem with that whatsoever. I'm just saying his whole family worked in the mines, or they became truck drivers or whatever. He took a leap of faith to do something he wanted to do, and he became a teacher and a coach. And luckily he did because, he I guess took another step in the right direction of his fucking goals and his dreams. And that taught all of us lessons. that he handed down.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And everything else. I'm waiting for Mahomes to get back on here. So let's just read some of these comments here on this Facebook post that went nuts today. This person,
I was hoping we could get on to Donald Trump before Mahoney gets back.
you want to go on? So Donald Trump, here's the deal. If you wanted to do an actual coup or whatever, like Donald Trump says to me back in August, the number one thing you'd have to have is you have to have a I read about this a while ago. You have to have like a split military. So you have to have the military almost like split, like they disagree politically that bad with the military split. So he has military advisor Michael Flynn or whatever. Again, I'm not well versed in all this stuff. That's where the source kind of came from, is Michael Flynn saying that he'll be back in office by August. The other part though is like, what do they have any evidence to pull out of nowhere? Do you think?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there something?
Yeah. I'm just going to go on record on this podcast because I already did it on my YouTube channel. And if you haven't checked it out yet, it's The Kelly Cutler Show. Come check it out. Shameless fucking plug. Boycott Pat Cutler. I don't know, but I will go on this show and I will say, just so I'm on record, if Donald Trump is the fucking president of the United States by the end of this year, I won't be fucking surprised. That's all I will say. I'm not saying I hope that happens. I'm not saying I don't hope that happens. Mahoney, we switched topics while you're gone. We knew you'd love to come back into this cesspool.
It's great. And I will be very surprised because it's never going to happen. It would be like me saying, gosh, I really didn't like that outcome of the Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl. So come on. We're having a parade and the Falcons are getting the ring. Because honestly, I didn't think it was fair how that happened. It's never going to happen.
And I'm not making a judgment call on the election results or anything. I don't think we know. I know we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in the military and blah, blah, blah. I know we don't know. They don't tell us fucking shit. I'm just making this final prediction because I have separated myself from politics. I was so fucking like interested and into that shit for like the last 10 years. And then after the last election, I've lost interest, and that's okay. I'm living a better life because I don't follow politics, just like you, Mr. Mahoney.
A million percent.
But this is my last. I'm just saying, this is my last prediction that Trump will be back in office by the end of December, if not completely done with politics, like done with Facebook. Not because he's a guy. We don't fucking know what's going on at all.
He's just not, he doesn't fit, right? Like he's not the political elite. He's the elite in terms of just like how he's lived his life. But like the fact that this has never happened before and if it was ever going to happen, not this guy. That's how the political elite work. That the hay's in the barn. We already had an inauguration. It's never going to happen. It would be like, it truly is akin to someone saying, hey, you know what? This Super Bowl that happened last year, you guys are the champions. We're going to go ahead and run it back. They need to give their Super Bowl rings back, give the trophy back, and we're going to go ahead and run a whole separate. It's never going to happen. As much as people might want it to happen or even think like maybe legitimately it should happen, it's just not gonna. It's just not gonna happen.
And we don't need to discuss, the 18,000 bullet points and shit behind my reasoning. I just want to go on record because I've done it on my YouTube channel, The Kelly Cutler Show. Check me out. And on Facebook, and now finally our podcast. I just want to go on record saying I would predict he'll be in office by December 31st of this year. And if not, I will tell you I'm 100% done with fucking politics and 90% done with Facebook.
Yeah, I was actually done with politics till COVID hit because I actually was up in a village in Alaska, had all my TV sets turned off and everything. Didn't even know what was going on. Didn't know what COVID was, and it was probably the best couple of months of my life in a long time because I was completely unaware of anything going on in the world. It was really nice. I would just say that I don't think like the media tries to make everything just shocking, like January 6th, the insurrection, all the stuff. It's like it gets so embarrassing, the coverage for me. I'm always about the media. It's like he had 25 fucking people die in riots and nobody made a big deal about it. He had buildings burned down, nobody gave a fuck, and then for whatever reason they weren't staffed, or they just let them take over the Capitol, because I don't know how else that could happen, and they made it like it was fucking World War III. That's where I kind of got irritated by it. And the other thing is like making these statements. I mean, Trump didn't even make, well, he sort of did in one of his press his releases lately, but we've had states like every fucking election, like Texas when Obama's in office. Oh, we're gonna secede from the union. Like Texas, these southern states tried to secede. I don't think it was a serious attempt. You had fucking California talking about seceding when Trump was in office. So it's like we've heard all this shit before, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen or not, is or is not or whatever. But it's like until I actually see it happen, I don't think the story needs to be blown up as though he's destroying the entire country, because like we've already seen this happen several times.
Right, but why are they still auditing election results? I mean, this was over in fucking November, December last year. Why are they still fucking auditing election results in Arizona and other key states, Pennsylvania and shit, Wisconsin, Michigan? Why are they fucking doing this? And why is this still in the goddamn media after, what are we in, June, mid-June? It's crazy.
And why are teachers
crazy, and it all doesn't matter. And
why
are they doing it though? I'm just wondering why.
The bigger question is why are my former teachers still boycotting shows I'm in Color Brothers Theater?
Well, they should definitely buy a T-shirt from you because they started it.
They started it. Did you hear that one, Mahomes? I'll tell you two really quick. Is he there still?
I think we discussed that.
Yeah, we talked about the teachers, about how you said a post, you didn't even actually name any teachers, and they just assumed that they were the bad ones without being named.
I didn't even name Deer Lodge in it, to tell you the truth. Could have been college professors for all they know. But clearly, if you're a bad teacher and you take that and boycott, then obviously you're not a very good teacher.
But I'll tell you what, like, if Trump does make it back in, I'm boycotting that Super Bowl. I'm boycotting the fact that we didn't make the playoffs my senior year in high school. I'm running anything I didn't like. I'm running it back. Like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I'll say this too. If my prediction did happen, then every fucking thing that we need to know, the behind the scenes, would also come out and would be actually in the public domain. So I'm not saying like, oh, Trump's the president again, and we're all just like, what the fuck is going on? I think it would be completely transparent. If it doesn't happen, like I said, my life that because I'm giving all that shit up and riding down the roller coaster like fucking die.
You're gonna be so much happier instead of like trying to debate people on who they're voting for or what cause, because none of it fucking matters.
All right, so I want to segue here. Let's jump into the comment section of some of these. I won't say any names, but let's just go over some comments here in this this post. It was about Planned Parenthood or whatever. I guess there's protests. I guess there's protests at Planned Parenthood.
That's the most circling of the wagons that we've ever done.
I guess there's protests at Planned Parenthood, or they're organized. I don't know. Anyways, let's just get to the comment section here of this post. If the building was empty, I'd burn Planned Parenthood to the ground. Do you think that person would actually do that, Mahomes?
I don't. I do like how they were, at least they said if the building was empty, so it wasn't that like crazy of a post, but it's still arson. So no, they wouldn't do it. Like, if the building was empty, I'd want to go to prison for setting a building on fire, is what they just said. And no, they would not do that.
And then the response was, you called blank immature for cussing. I think it's immature to commit arson. I mean, if you're I think the definition of immaturity is to do arson, right? Can we all agree with that?
Hey, Pat, I just sent that over to the chat. Is there any way you can slap up the original post? You could read it, but I mean, it might be cool if people could see it. Or is that a big process?
No, I can do it right now. Actually,
you got to remember, of our 13,000 viewers, like 12,000 of them just listen in the car on the ride to work.
Okay. Well, here I'll throw it up. Oh shoot, that's the wrong thing.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't give too much of that shit out.
Oh
Oh
boy,
shoot.
that's I saw your entire chat
what?
history.
Why the fuck are you talking to Don Bromley without us?
Yes. Oh
No
god.
wonder it went viral. What is going on here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he owns the show now, so Pat's getting fucking paid.
Let me get this up. Okay, here we go. I put up my own chats. There's just like 100 dick pics on there.
Yeah, and for those of you that are in your cars listening, I wish you were watching because Mahoney just chewed the shit out of his daughter, and it was fucking hilarious to see his face. He's not laughing yet. We'll give him a second.
And those listening to your car, I will happily
Shoot, oh, the joys of being a parent.
Okay.
Anyway, wear a condom.
So here we go. Here's the meme. It's on the video, the YouTube videos. But here, to people listening in their car or whatever, the meme simply says, "I will happily walk you through a crowd of protesters to get you safely to Planned Parenthood." It's not really. I didn't really think that was much of a offensive meme at all. I don't see much there, but the comments would tell you something else.
Yeah, and that's what always piques my interest when I'm scrolling through Facebook. Again, Facebook's the fucking devil, but you're scrolling through and you see 177 comments. Doesn't matter who's posted.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I want to go back to Mahone's statement on personal attacks, and this is one of them. Just reading this, I just want to read this because without saying anybody's name or anything, because it just sounds so fucking stupid when you do personal attacks like this. It's like, okay, I am pro-life, but I've skimmed over a lot of these comments, and blankety blank, you dropped out of high school. You said you were going to Job Corps for 2 years now. The only job you've worked out is part-time at a gas station. I can't keep reading.
Again, it's like once you get
you gotta read it all, man.
Once you
it's
get
like
to
heroin.
that point, it's just like, oh, okay, so you're gonna discount this person because of some decision they made in their life.
Okay, I gotta keep reading this. It just gets more ridiculous. You are dating your love of your life's little brother. Must be a family thing. Still talks to the other brother. You have no ambition in life. I'm not one to debate and attack the person. I'm not one to debate and attack. Yeah, clearly not. Instead of their opinions, but you have made a mockery of yourself. You can't stand here on a tower saying all this when you have done nothing. God. Thanks for coming to my
I
TED
love when
Talk.
they lead in with that. Just look, not going to personally attack, but you are a fuck.
You are a gigantic. You're fucking your own. You're fucking your own brother. I don't believe in personally attacking anybody, though. This is bad.
Yeah, what is it? I mean, maybe back to the theater side of things. What is it that people like to not just comedy, but see about human emotion? Because it's not just me. Trust me, I've had so many people say they like reading that shit. Just people tearing each other a new asshole. I don't know if it's because it's fucking funny or because it's like, this is so fucking awkward. It's delicious.
It makes it, and Mahomes will probably say the same thing I'm going to say. It makes you feel way better about your life situation. It's not the same thing as virtue signaling, which is why a lot of my boycotts start. It's just ridiculous cancel culture, boycott Pat Cutler. That's virtue signaling. Oh no, I don't want to associate with him. I'm a good guy. He's the bad guy. Remember that? That's virtue signaling. This stuff is, you just want to feel good about yourself. It's like reality TV. It makes you feel kind of good because, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's sad that you can't, First Amendment rights and shit. I mean, I guess what you put on Facebook is fair game, especially if they're, friends with you. It's like, well, you don't have to fucking be friends with them. But, I used to put a lot more stuff like like I put a couple political things on Facebook a while ago, as you know, and I just got my ass ripped apart, and it got all fucking personal, and it ruined my fucking day, and I felt like a piece of shit, and I was just like, this isn't fucking worth it. So anymore, I have two rules. I won't put shit on Facebook unless I can take any backlash over it. You know, I won't come out straight and just be like, Trump is the greatest president we've ever fucking had. You know, I won't, unless it's a fucking joke, you know. But if I have some serious shit to say, I won't say it. I'm very, very meticulous in trying to figure out what I say, because I want to be able to defend 100% of whatever I do. I can't remember what my second point of that thing was, but it's sad that you have to tiptoe around all this shit, because it's worse. It's worse too on Facebook or on social media. It's worse when you say something and someone's like, "Oh yeah, well, didn't you fail your geometry class your sophomore year of high school?" It's just worse to hear that than if someone just said that to you like in a fucking bar, where you could be like, "Fuck you, dude." You know, I don't know. That was a long rant, but
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these things, I'm just going through the comments. A lot of these, again, it goes like so fucking like personal. Like nobody can like kind of have like that middle ground or whatever, you know, like fuck you or I need this or that. Because of Planned Parenthood, it's the same thing. It's like with all these political things, there's like 50, half of it you're like, oh yeah, that they do a lot of great things and stuff like that. Then the other half is like, there's some pretty fucking sketchy things also. But yeah, it's like people can't see both sides of it. It's just fuck you. You work at fucking McDonald's, fucking your little brother. No.
Oh, you're banging your sister. Oh yeah, no wonder you want an abortion. You're like, come on, like, just get out from out of the gutter and maybe try and think from the other perspective for 10 seconds.
Yeah, and the other part of that annoyed me a little bit was like, if you have an actual point, and again, I think this just comes with age, but if you have an actual opinion or a point, then be prepared to back it up, or be prepared to fucking listen. You can't just say, you know, the sky is green, the sky is green, the sky is green. You can't just say that and then someone proves you wrong and then you keep saying it, or else you're just a fucking idiot. So if you should never have that strong of an opinion, maybe about like one or two things in life, but outside of that, you should never have that strong of an opinion, because you really don't know everything. And someone that disagrees with you also has very, very, very fucking good points. And I've learned that the hard way sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking interesting. I think we should segue here into Dr. Fauci. Should he be sent to a federal prison? Kelly, you want to start this one off?
You know, the Donald Trump one. I've kind of been. Or did I cut out there?
Yeah,
Kind of. You were talking about how you know for sure that Donald Trump's the greatest president of all time, and he will lead this country out of something like that. That's all I heard.
I've kind of been out of politics as much as I was, again, the last 10 years till this last election cycle. And so Dr. Fauci, I don't really know the details there. I think if the fucker went on mass media and just lied, I don't know the story there, but if that's what happened, then probably he should be punished. But then again, he's I don't know his credentials either, but if he's got the he's a doctor and everything, then it's just like anything in life. He might have just said what he thought to be true at the time. And it's like, you can't really hold someone accountable for saying what they think to be true when they don't have any more information at their disposal.
Yeah, so I'm going to just update everybody on the Fauci email situation here, because I looked into it a little bit. It wasn't, the emails weren't leaked. Basically what happened is BuzzFeed News filed a Freedom of Information Act request to see Fauci's emails.
BuzzFeed.
Yeah, BuzzFeed.
So it's already loses a touch of credibility with me. The people who brought you, what kind of cookie are you? are going to tell you a little bit about Fauci's emails. Anyway, go ahead.
BuzzFeed actually had a live Twitter feed of one of the elections. That was the Twitter sponsored video broadcast of one of the elections. Maybe it was 2016. It was terrible. Anyways, they got the actual emails from Fauci, and I kind of read. I tried to go on to the hard right and try to see, or just the regular right, whatever you're gonna call it, and try to see what the criticisms were. Because I looked at the left point of views too. The main things that I saw were that, and this has been a big myth that I've put out there. A ton of people lose their fucking shit over, boycott a fucking film they're in, for example. How fucking worthless fucking masks are during COVID. There's so many studies that show how completely worthless they can be. One of the things that Fauci put out in an email is basically saying he knew, look, store-bought like masks or whatever, or cloth, or random just cloth masks you just put up, they're pretty much fucking worthless versus COVID-19. And he basically says this in an email. He says, store-bought masks and stuff aren't going to prevent anything. But then he comes out in public and says the complete opposite. You can wear a cloth mask. You can do it. No, that was all like fucking bullshit. He's like, it's not going to prevent anything. And then the other thing is, he's in there quoted as saying that he didn't see a vaccine as being necessary or really doing anything. Then he comes out in public and pushes a vaccine. So there's a couple misstatements in there. I didn't think I saw anything that was damning, but it was just kind of like super hypocritical shit. My problem with, would it be Fauci, any government officials, like, you're fucking shutting down people's businesses. You're destroying people's lives. You're not really saving any lives. The population growth did not change whatsoever during COVID. So that's where I think it's like, it comes to me, it's like, when government officials, for the record, I mean, they're never going to be, they're going to be untouchable. They're never, Trump's not going to prison. Hillary Clinton's not going to prison. No one's actually going to prison. That's just reality. That's just how it works. But I mean, when you fucking destroy people's lives, tons and tons of lives, millions and millions of lives, when hardly anybody was affected by something, that's where it's like, okay, this is fucking bullshit. And that's my take on it.
Yeah, I got just 2 points. I listened to a documentary that says that Hillary Clinton's fucking dead. And if you ever see her, she's a fucking puppet or a clone, a lookalike. We don't need to dig down that rabbit hole, but I just thought that. Fauci, I don't know as much about him as I probably should, but I do know this. I do know that someone that's been the senior medical advisor to the White House since absolutely since Clinton, and maybe even back, connected to the political elite, just like Jeffrey Epstein, has to be corrupted in some capacity. They have to be bought out on something. They have to be playing some type of game. It's not like he's fucking new to this. He's been there for a long time, and he's probably been there for a long time for a reason. I mean, who stays in a position, for 35 years besides Coach Cutler of the Wardens? And look how corrupt that motherfucker was.
I think that the two biggest takeaways for me is, one, like, our U.S. government needs to get a much, much, much better email security system. Like, we have had email leaks that have really been a problem, whether it's been Hillary Clinton or Fauci. And I don't disagree with Kelly that if he's been around that long, I also like, and it depends, because I've said it a million times on this pod. We've had 15 podcasts. I've probably said it 15 times. Everyone's got a price, but like, I don't think Fauci went into this with thinking like, I'm gonna mess up people's lives. I think as a doctor, like, he generally was trying to do what he thought was right, and probably was trying to make the right decisions the best he could. Because if you look back, like 2 years ago, would anyone think like, people saying like store-bought masks aren't anything, right? Like, if you're going in for an appendicitis and your doctor doesn't have a mask on 2 years ago, would you be like, yeah, that's cool? No, you fucking freak out. So it's a weird deal. I think we learned a lot from this. What really sucks is, yes, like, some people died for sure. It was really bad on an older population.
Wrong.
And a lot of people, like, not only did people die, but people lost livelihoods. Like, I live in a bigger area, and there's people that serve this community that are out of jobs, that are, they're washing cars now and stuff like that. And I think generally people tried to do the right thing. And I also think generally people were so afraid. And I've said this before, they were trying to CYA, cover your ass, right? Like, I don't want to get sued for saying that this wasn't. So I'm going to take the safest possible route and do this thing so that just in case, like, if I take a route that's maybe a little risky and someone gets hurt or someone gets sick and I get like, and that's just the society we live in. I mean, that's ever since that one asshole spilled his coffee from McDonald's and won $3 million or whatever the hell it was. That's what it is. People are going to cover their ass and they're going to do the safest thing possible. And I think we saw it on a grand scale with COVID. I don't think, and maybe I'm naive, I don't think there was too many nefarious deeds. I think generally people were trying to do the right thing, but also trying to cover their ass.
I think there's also, though, a shit ton of people that just got fucking power hungry. You have any fucking power for like any moment in time, and it's like they just don't want to fucking let it go. Like health departments were fucking out of control. You can do logical things like in big cities. There's logical things you can do, and I'm not going to argue with fucking New York and stuff like that. There's places like small towns like Deer Lodge where it's like they try to push just ridiculous, stupid shit that's not making any fucking difference whatsoever. How do you explain, like, say, super ultra liberal? And this is why COVID-19 was so fucking politicized and why it's such a fucking hoax when it comes to the reaction of it. A fucking hoax. Yes, you heard that right. Missoula, Montana, liberal as fuck, has the most restrictive COVID regulations possible. Billings, Montana, a lot bigger, has hardly any from people that I worked out there. And look at the fucking results. You can't fucking tell any difference whatsoever. So that's why I'm pissed off. Like, it was so fucking politicized that it had nothing to do with anything but politics. And the politics of fear was pretty obvious that people who are more left-leaning and doing the I want to play it safe are the most scared people alive in this country, because they are so fucking scared they would shut down their own fucking city, saw off their own fucking leg at their goddamn TV set said to do so. Then you had the people on the right who just basically just did the complete opposite, and the results are the exact fucking same. That's why I get so pissed. It's like people became so detached from fucking reality in the most liberal cities alive simply because their TV box told them to do so, especially when it came to boycotting Redgate film and the boycott against Patrick Cutler. Everybody get their t-shirts today.
Yeah, COVID, in my humble opinion, was nothing more than a giant gambling chip that was thrown on the table with the political elites. Now, I'm not saying that COVID didn't exist. It did exist, just like the flu or measles and mumps or anything like that. And was it a weapon of biological warfare? Who fucking knows? They're trying to unravel this shit with a Wuhan lab and all that right now. But to me, it was nothing more than a fucking shit, whatever reason that we may never know. Our kids might know, our grandkids might know. And it was just another thing I mean, it was nowhere close to, it was nowhere close to a 9/11, nowhere close to a fucking Vietnam or whatever. But people bought into it, unfortunately, and it really just was not that big of a thing. And again, I've lost friends over this shit. Like, my fucking aunt died of COVID. Okay, I understand. I really do. People, I'm not saying it wasn't real. I'm not saying people didn't die over it. I'm saying the reaction was so fucking overblown and so stupid. If it wasn't an election year, if it was any other fucking year, I think that we wouldn't even know what coronavirus was. I didn't know what coronavirus was until COVID-19, although there's been how many fucking strands of it, throughout history.
The reaction is the hoax. That's where I say hoax. The reaction to COVID is a fucking hoax because it's pathetically illogical. It's beyond any logic I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. We have a 70-year-old dad that got fucking COVID this fall and he has 70 years old and he has fucking asthma and barely even noticed he had a cold. Barely. yet they're fucking out there parading around like if you're above 60 years old, you're at severe risk of dying. Like it's a fucking 50% death sentence. Fuck that. Like there's so much false information spread.
Asthma, asthma can be deadly. It's like, do we shut down the entire world for asthma? Do we shut down the entire world, when our aunt died in a car wreck, say no one can drive for a year and a half? Do we shut down the world when our grandpa died of lung cancer? It's like, let's fucking just get real here. This is not the bubonic plague. I'm sorry.
People got mentally retarded, and now they suddenly are unmentally retarding themselves after COVID's done, and now they want to rejoin our fucking movie, which isn't going to fucking happen because I have no idea what they're thinking. Anyways, segue here to this Facebook post. How do you support?
But first, Pat, can I just think we should submit to Webster's dictionary, just see if they'll put the word unretarded themselves or whatever you said in the dictionary. Unretardedness.
I'd put that kind of low on our list of priorities, but that's something we can think about. Yeah.
Oh, hey, let's this question. This question is to Mahones here on this Facebook post. How do you support your how do you support yourself while you live with your parents and your ex-boyfriend's brother, who you're dating now, and their parents? Go ahead with.
So I don't. That's for me on a personal level. I live with my wife and my child in my own house that I purchased with my own money. So that doesn't relate to me as much, but if I was in that situation, I would just be as proud as I could of the situation I was in, and I'd work super hard.
Yikes. Yeah, there's some great stuff on this Facebook post, but yeah, so I think that's kind of the signal for us to wrap up this week's show. Aliens, we got some good news coming down the pipe. We're actually gonna go out and revisit the alien sighting here. Let me pull it up one more time here really quick. No, not the fucking Facebook post. We're gonna go out and we're gonna revisit the alien sighting here. Just a second, let me pull this thing up.
Fucking
I like literally just had it up. Now it's
hey, Mahoney, can you do that? Can you quickly do that hoedown you did in the hot tub my bachelor party?
I don't think I should. For anyone listening, we had a bachelor party couldn't be more in the middle of nowhere. We surprised him in Kellogg, Idaho, and hoedowns, if anyone's familiar with Whose Lines Is It Anyway? It's a game that we've done. It's an ad-lib game we've done forever, and it was the second, or I think it was the second night we were there, and I don't remember most of the evening. I was having a very good time. I was enjoying the scenery and the ambiance quite a bit, and I don't remember anything, but apparently I had a real zinger of a hoedown, which will never ever make air.
Well,
apparently it was.
That's the $10,
really
post show.
Yeah,
that's $1 million post show, because that would cost me my job, my wife her job, my daughter a chance to get into school. That's like a $3 million post show.
Hey, what's more likely to happen? That to come out during a post show, or my snap I sent that got me boycotted to come out?
For sure, your snap. I'm much more guarded than you are. I'm honestly surprised your snap hasn't been the lead of one of our episodes.
God, I should go back and see if it's even in there. No, I shouldn't. I deleted. So I actually screenshotted it. That's how I'm not talking. Okay.
Let the sleeping dog lie. Let it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this horse has been dead for 10 years. Pat wants to hook it up to the back of my Jeep and drag it up to Crothers Lake.
That's actually, he has 13 Jeep batteries and he's revived so we can kill it again. Choking it with his bare hands.
God, okay. Let's get on to the closing here of the show. I wanted to show a photo here again of there's old Esteban, the alien.
I'll tell you what, this is a full circle moment. This is look at us. Look at us just growing as a podcast, really being able to close the business down.
If you guys not seen Esteban the alien yet, here's a photo of him. If you're listening in your car, just imagine a fifth dimensional being up in the middle of Montana in a night camera. I don't know how to describe this shit.
A fifth dimensional jizz stain on your shower wall. That's what it looks like.
I love that, like, you're just assuming that our listeners, who's no one is listening by now, just know what a fifth dimensional being would just look like in their head as they're driving down I-90. Anyway,
we have some breaking news here. We're actually gonna, me, Kelly, and Don Brownlee are actually gonna go back up to this location. It's like a very special private location. I don't know how we're getting up there exactly, but we're actually gonna go up there here within the next couple of weeks, and we're gonna shoot some video and kind of check out the area and put out a video actually on this actual spot where this happened. I'm sure that will lead to another guest appearance by Don Bromley on this podcast, and we'll talk aliens for. We're going to talk aliens probably for the next 24 episodes. That's for anybody that wants to know. But at the end of the day, we all have to admit that Redgate probably doesn't exist if we were just allowed to shoot Enigma on prison property.
I'm actually really. What's funny is I'm super glad you said that, because my signing off was going to be something about Enigma just so we could keep it going. So no, I have nothing to say at the end, but thank you.
My Snapchats, my Facebook posts don't exist without what happened with Enigma.
Sure.
Now we got every episode, man. It's like Redgate, fucking Enigma, Dr. Fauci. Just joking, but the same fucking shit every single episode comes up one way or another. Theater. I mean, this was a great theater talk again tonight. You think you get tired of that shit, but we always got stuff to say about theater, man.
Usually I have a pretty good idea what label or title I'm going to put on a podcast episode. I really don't know what I'm going to call this fucking one.
Just call it the smorgasbord.
Charcuterie. This is a charcuterie of bullshit. And we fed it to you on little crackers with cheese.
Call it the Unretarded Yourself documentary podcast.
I wouldn't. I would avoid that as a headline. Just as like, just coming from a PR perspective, we're really on a hot streak with Esteban right now. So let's not wreck the train. You know.
Do you think it's a little bit odd that the one that gets the most views in a week is the one that Esteban's in the most?
I'll tell you, he might be the key this whole time. We'll mention him every single time, even if it's for the next 15 episodes, which is probably as long as this thing will run. Like, I'll mention it.
Yeah, Esteban, he came to me in a dream last night, and he told me that he was going to play Richard Roman.
Oh shit! Oh dear.
Richard Roman, the Glenn Ross play, which we're doing next Friday. It premieres on stage at the Cutler Brothers stage. Gonna be a blast. So
come next Saturday. I'll be there.
Oh yeah,
Not only will I be there, I might
even only show
be on stage.
We might do. We're looking at doing a drunk show next Saturday. We'll be in talks, something to kind of blow things up and make it really interesting. Because by the time we get here from the theater, things could be kind of crazy.
Let's just see if we can't get Jay Marsh and Marianne on the old podcast. You know,
oh god,
a nice little Saturday.
Yeah, you want to blow this shit up? Let's fucking do it.
Hey,
I'm only in town every so often, so I'm just trying to have a good time.
Hey, maybe we'll get them on. Some of my former teachers, maybe flying those actors and actresses from New York.
Oh fuck! Here we go. Yeah, but Glengarry, Glen Ross, fuck you. Who knows? This week, crunch week always gets a little bit crazy. Maybe we'll be doing this fucking podcast on the stage after the show because we're all going to be there at the theater. Maybe we'll be doing that for a live fucking audience. We'll see.
You just never know. Depends on what kind of audience we have on Saturday. If they're into it, I'm into it.
Just say stick around. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a long podcast. We could do 45 minutes or some shit. But again, this might just be the fucking 18 beers Tilly gave me talking. That might be a fun thing to consider.
I'm into it. Like, you don't need to tell me. I also we need to round the ponies. It is very past my child's bedtime.
Okay, let's round the ponies here. I'll give Kelly, I'll go to you for your final word on the night first.
Oh, fuck. I don't even know what to finalize here. I mean, we talked about Redgate. We talked about the boycott. We talked about Fauci. We talked about Trump. We talked about theater. We talked about Facebook. We talked about virtue signaling. And we also talked about Pat having Esteban, the alien's jizz in his throat. And that's my final word.
And what I would like to take from this is, everyone, you can read what you want to read, you can believe what you want to believe, and that's the best part. Get around other people that don't think like you to hear other things that maybe don't make you feel super comfortable, because it's good to just listen and learn. And if that doesn't help, remember, Esteban is here.
And that's going to wrap up another show. My final thoughts are, pretty simple. I joke around. I obviously got a little heated tonight about COVID-19 and Snapchat and Facebook. I think it all irritates the fuck out of me, but it's all fun. Everything's been a lot of fun, a blast. The boycott has actually launched a lot of things in the right direction. We broke the podcast record download this week. Our fucking films being talked about across news stations across the state of Montana. A lot of positive things going on out there. A lot of fun. We're going up to see Esteban in a couple of weeks. That's going to be the highlight of my fucking life. And yeah, a lot of positive things happen. A lot of things to look forward to. That was a lot of fun. I hope you guys took some of our tips there. We started talking about getting out of your comfort zone, life lessons, all those things. Just replay that and just don't watch any other part of the episode would probably be my best solution for you. But anyways, all right, everybody, have a great night tonight. Oh shit, I didn't hit the record button. I'm just kidding. All right, peace out.
Recording.
Have a good night.